what I saw. I'm Gary. Welcome to join us. We're going to talk about the Arsenal nil, Brighton nil match. And where do we start? Well, first off, we didn't score, as you can tell. Second, how many excuses are we going to hear this week about how this game went? But I'm going to give you my review of how this match went. First things first, let's take a look at the lineup. Once again, I think we had one of our stronger lineups that we've had in a very long time. Saka, Xhaka being out actually meant that we're going to get a new person playing in the midfield, and that was Zombie, who I wanted to see. And sitting next to Partey, I thought that would be great. And we'll get to see how he's going to work out. Everybody else was the same as the previous week. The back five, expected to see them, and I expect to see them more and more every match that we play. Hopefully, expected them to play better as they go along. I think the first match was great that they played together, and this one I was expecting them just to grow a little bit more. I believe everybody thought this was going to be a tougher match for us than the last one, even though, you expect the Spurs to come out and want to play. But Brighton has been playing really well. They had a chance last week to get up to first place, but they weren't able to finish off Crystal Palace, and they ended up actually getting a point late, basically at the death. With like a minute left on the clock, they got a goal to get a point out of that. So, that point basically is that, would have been the difference if we would have won for us to actually catch them. But as it stands, we are still, 4 points off of them. Pretty bad, I would say, as far as what I was expecting to see. And we'll take a look at the, go forward in the lineup, talk a little bit more about that. So like I said, the back five was the same, expected to see that. Zombie coming in, thought that was going to be good. Front four, same as before. Expected them to grow a little bit more from what I saw in the previous match. They looked really good, and it was going to be a lot tougher match, and it did turn out to be that. But I still expected us to play a lot better. I mean, we made it easy for them. We made it really easy for them. We'll get into the stats later, but yeah, we made it so easy for them. From the players, who stood out. As a whole, the team was poor, but some players did stand out. Milsworth really stood out. Xhaka on the ball stood out a lot when he was attacking. Everybody else, just not there. I didn't expect Zombie to come out and have a really good match, especially. He hadn't played much, and this was a really tough game on the road. But everybody else, I expected to see them kind of be able to keep up. Erdogan, I think he had a really poor game. Basically, up the middle, he looked a little poor, especially up in front. Aubameyang and Martin Erdogan, I think, just not good at all. And I don't even mean that they weren't doing enough to get themselves into the game, but when they did, it just wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. I mean, every touch that they had was either a loose touch or a bad pass, or just anytime they needed to do something with the ball, it just never worked out. It never panned out, and we paid for that. Ben White and Gabriel, I kind of if we're gonna keep up the middle, I think they did okay. They could have done better probably, but I think this was going to be a tough one, and it proved to be. Ramsdale continues to surprise us. I mean, I think he might have had maybe a blip or two during the game, but as a whole, he played solid. Probably the best player for 90 minutes that we had going on. He made some saves, but he might have had some points where he did make a mistake. I guess there was one point where he went up for a ball, didn't get a grasp of it. The ball fell to the ground, and then he got taken out by one of the Brighton players. Luckily. Because I think they could have scored if not. That ball would have been just sitting there. Otherwise, I think he had a good game, and probably one of the best games, best players in the game. Tomiyasu and Tierney. I think Tomiyasu had a tough game, and I think that's to be expected. Is he gonna play like he did last week? Probably not every match, but he's gonna learn from it. As much as that 0-0 draw looks good, I think we got lucky, very lucky that they did not score 1, 2, 3, 4 goals. They had so many opportunities to score on us, and we just got lucky that they did not go through. I mean, I think that's the problem with Brighton is they may get opportunities, but they're not good finishers. And we got we got a point out of that because it looked really ominous from us this game as they every time they got a ball inside the box, it was just can we stop them? And most of the time, Brighton stopped themselves. They just weren't able to finish cleanly on any of their attempts, and we got lucky for that. But like I said, Saka and Millsworth Rowe probably the better players in the field to play. With the ball at their feet, Millsworth Rowe probably the better of them. Looking at some of the ratings, and they have Saka and Millsworth Rowe as being kind of one of the poorer players on the pitch, and I beg to differ on that one. I think they actually played pretty well. I think the other players that we expected more from didn't do that. Sambi didn't really have a good first half, and that's probably to be expected, but you expect Partey to bring him along, and that didn't happen today. He didn't help him out enough, show him the way, and it was kind of poor there. Aubameyang, like I said, poor touches, and that was probably the biggest thing about this match is we didn't have much of possession of the ball, and that's one because after every one or two touches, the ball was gone and it's going back to the other side. It's hard to attack when you barely have the ball, right? I mean, at one point I think it was 60-40 or 61-39 in terms of possession, and you can't win matches like that. And we can't win matches when we have to play defense where at no time did it seem like we were going to be able to hold on to the ball long enough to catch our breaths. That's a recipe for a disaster. And, maybe playing these young players is, this is what you're going to see. But also I think this is what Arteta wanted, right? These are the players that he wanted. So he should, if he's getting the players he wants, then he should know how to work with them and what to get and how to get the best out of them. And that did not happen today. I mean, I think at one point I think they were on their fifth or sixth corner and we had none. I mean, just outclassed all game, and I believe that's more on the management than it is on the players. I think everybody knew coming into this match that it was going to be tough. It might be a letdown from the previous match where everybody was up, but that's the job of a manager to have them coming in ready to play, especially a game like this on the road. And it wasn't the rain. It wasn't the rain. It wasn't the rain. Guess what? It wasn't the rain. The rain is not the reason why the game played out this way. I mean, both teams were playing in the rain. We weren't the only ones. It wasn't on our side of the pitch. It wasn't on their side. It was the whole entire pitch. There was a lot of rain coming down, and everybody had to deal with it. The one thing I did say when I was doing a watch-along is that whoever had the ball was at the defender was at the mercy of them because they know where they're going, but the defender doesn't. And you can see that time and time again when Saka would take the ball down that right-hand side and just go ahead and attack. They had no answer for it, especially in the weather, and just him in general, just to be able to do that. But I didn't see enough of that. We need to see more, and we didn't get that at all. And thus, we made it easy for them. I mean, I think every time we had an opportunity to put some pressure on them, we kind of held up and waited for what reason, I don't know. You got to take advantage when you got those chances, and they were going to be few and far between, and the team just didn't understand that, the way that they were playing. Not good. Not good. Tierney was in the game, but I don't feel like I said his name enough, or his name was, heard much in this game. I mean, a lot of stuff was coming up the Saka side. Tierney was there, but not as commanding and dominating as he was in the previous match and in previous matches. So, all in all, and just everybody was off. Everybody was off. I mean, the fact that we were lucky to not give up any goals is not a reason to be happy about the defense. But we'll find out what Arteta has to say about it. I can't see any silver linings in this match as a whole, for sure. Even individually, there just wasn't any. Just hard to see how he's gonna make this thing sound like it was we had a good job today. I just don't see it. I was looking at some of the subs. We brought Pepe came in around the 60th mark, for Erdegaard, and that was probably welcome because Erdegaard was having a really poor game. You could see it. I mean, every touch that he had was just he might as well just handed it to them every time because that's what ended up happening. Just not having a good match, and probably should have come out at halftime. Probably should have come out before halftime. To be honest, there probably was no reason to keep him out there. He was not having a good day, and for whatever reason, we kind of let him sit out there and try to work his way out of it, and it just wasn't going to happen. Later on, I think in the 70th minute, Lacazette comes in for Aubameyang once again. Probably, to me, a little bit late. I mean, you're giving him about 18 minutes in a match that's going to take a while to get involved, get acclimated to. He's probably going to be more on the back foot than the front foot, the way we were playing. And then in the 90th minute, Maitland-Niles comes on. I don't know if that was who he was coming on for, but why in the 90 minute are we making a sub? Even if it's planned, it makes no sense. I mean, nothing good is going to come out of that. You're more likely that player just coming on fresh and getting beat. It's more negative than positive for me. But I mean, Saka did have to come off and look for. Hopefully, it's just a cramp and it's not an injury of any sort. But the substitution patterns still need to be worked on by Arteta. He just does not believe that he has to make a sub at halftime. I just don't understand that. I mean, we were watching the women's game at the same time, and I think they were 0-0 at half, and they brought on subs at halftime. Miyashuki, I think it is the name. I think I just destroyed her name, but they brought in one of their new forwards at halftime. Because something needed to change, and he knew, and that manager knew it. But ours, he just didn't realize that, I need to bring in some new players and maybe switch this thing up again because it's just getting stale and we're not getting anything out of it. Nothing changed in terms of the way that the players were instructed and their instructions, and it didn't seem to change. And that's on Arteta. I mean, unless they're not listening to him, and if that's the case, they shouldn't be playing. But if they are, then something's not right there, and he needs to fix that. Just looking at some of the stats here. We only got about 2 shots on target, and what's disappointing about that is we got that early, I believe, and probably for most of the game we got another one. Brighton only got 2 as well, which is why we were lucky that they did not score more, because they got about 20 shots to our 8. And you're not going to win many matches when you're only getting about 8 attempts, any shots on goal. And I think a lot of the shots that I saw a lot of shots. I don't know if these are counted, but I saw at least 2 or 3 from Partey and then Zombie, which if they're the ones taking almost half the shots, if they got I don't know if they were counted or not, but if they are, that's disappointing because we have a lot of attacking threat on our team, and them not being able to get double figures in shots is definitely not part of the plan. Can't be, right? So what did we see? We didn't see anything good today. What else? Anything else that we could talk about? I mean, I think, like I said, it was well into the second half when we probably got our first corner, which means we just weren't attacking them enough. We were getting bullied. I mean, the one thing that scares me every time is we're setting up to defend a corner, and we got one of our smaller guys and one of their bigger guys, and it's just like, how is that even an option? Why is that even happening? I mean, luckily they did not benefit from it. And we got lucky there. What else do we have there? I mean, the one thing that was good about this match is that we got a point, and we actually moved up the table. Will we stay there? Probably not. We've got a couple teams behind us, right? You've got Brentford, Wolverhampton, and the Spurs are all behind us, within enough points to catch us and bypass us. So we could end up this week back in 12th place, the way things could be going, or we could just stay right there in 9th. So we'll see. What else? What else? What else? As far as the game, yeah, and that's what I saw in this match. That's what I saw in this match. Were there any good things that happened in this match? Let me kind of go through the game a little bit here and see as far as the commentary that was going on during this match. Let's see. Uh, one of the things that I think coming into this match was always going to be about the Mupe kind of uh, match, right? And to some degree, I didn't really seem like he threatened us much. I think it came from a lot of other players. Don't know if that was our approach is to stop him, but in general, aren't a team that as a whole we need to be too concerned about. Their forwards did put pressure on us. I mean, I think Trossard, I think is how you say his name. He was involved in a lot of things. I mean, the man went down at least 3 times in this match where you thought he should be out. I mean, he probably, as I said, probably broke his leg twice, but continued to play and still be able to be effective. So I don't know if that was real or not. Obviously not real because he played. No sooner did he go down for like a minute or 2 or 3 or whatever it was, he was back up running, no problem. I don't like talking about the official, but as the game went on, you just noticed some things about it. I mean, every time a blue shirt went down, he was happy to stop play. Every time they made plays, whether or not we went down or not, it just wasn't gonna. We weren't gonna get the call, even though they benefited from the aggressive play that they had going on. I mean, the players need to know how to play against that. I get that. So either they need to go down, or they need to make sure that the defender actually has to grab them. And in multiple cases, that did happen, and still nothing. So that was a little disappointing. But when your captain doesn't speak up for you, what happens? I mean, they're just going to keep taking things away from you as far as calls. What else? What else happened? The game was poor in the middle, and that was where we needed to win it. We needed to win this match in the middle of the pitch, and I swear that we never got the ball into the middle of the pitch enough with a lot of movement. I think you watched it and it was like we weren't allowed to move. I mean, all the players with the ball has got the ball looking for players to pass to, and we're not. Nobody's moving. Nobody's moving to the open spot. Nobody's taking a run. A few times we had runs and the pass wasn't made, but we see that a lot, right? But most of the time it was a stagnant team sitting out there. It was easy to defend, and we paid for it. I mean, the passes there was no movement, so thus when we did pass it, we were passing it to air most of the time. I mean, there was one point where I think Tierney made a play to get past the defender and it's going up the side and just booted it straight up. Guess what? There's nobody there. So Brighton just picked up the ball and just went back the other way. All in all, really, really poor match in general. Can they do better than that? Yes. Did we expect a setback after the last match? Yes. But how do you get big? This is something that the manager has to work on. How do you build up for a big North London derby and then come into this match and don't look like you're ready to play? Don't have any sense of urgency. Don't want to fight for it. Get all the points. Something like that. Nothing. So yeah, it was a good week last week, and this week not so much. And now we got to stew on this for 2 weeks, right? And then come out and play a Crystal Palace match where Vieira will be coming home, right? And Arsenal needs to be able to work up, come in thinking about this match and trying to get something out of it. And maybe they will because there's something riding on it. But maybe they should have always been doing that. This is the Premier League, and you need to come in and try to get points in matches all the time, every day. One game right out the other. They're all big ones. Did we drop points? Maybe if you look at it as a whole. By this time in the season, we played 6 matches, 7 matches, right? We've lost 3. We've won 3 and we drew 1. It's probably where we were going to be most likely, anyways. Maybe there's a win or a draw in there that we're missing, but from where we came from to here, I think that's positive. We should be able to take a positive out of that. Um, we need to, at some point, some part of the team outside of the goalkeeper is going to have to be better than the rest, at least if we're going to have a poor match all around, and just they're going to be the ones that we can lean on to get something out of this match. Didn't happen today. Not enough lines of play took over and commanded this game for Arsenal. It would have been nice if it was the midfield, because I think that would have helped us. It could have been, just nothing. We needed to come in and be able to play our game, and I think we actually came in and tried to stop their play. That's what it looked like. Now think about this. They missed about 4 or 5 players today, so they are depleted, definitely on the bench. Welbeck is out. Basuma is out. I shudder to think what would happen if Basuma was playing in this match, because we were already getting beat in the midfield for me, but you put a Basuma in there with that, then we're in trouble. We're in real big trouble, and he's a player that we're missing, because if we had a Basuma on our team and we were playing this team, I think we would have been better, all the better for it. So yeah, I think that's disappointing, and not only that, but it also kind of highlights, and I kind of said this in the watch along, the difference between Arteta and managers with experience. Graham Potter, some would say, he's not really big enough for Arsenal, but you know what he does? He's playing without some of his starters, playing with a depleted, bench, and he still was able to get something out of this match. And they actually looked like they had a plan to actually get all the 3 points, not kind of hold on and maybe survive. Arsenal had everybody they needed. Xhaka's one man, but yes, we got reserves for that reason. Basically, we have a full team. We should be able to come out and get all 3 points. I mean, what happens when we play them at home and they're healthy? All their players are back. What should happen there? Do we draw again because we're able to play better, but then they are also. No, we needed to get the points today. We did not, so that's a disappointing part. We got a point, but we should have got all 3 points today. Hopefully Arteta learns from this. Hopefully his interview kind of shows that that is the case. The weather is not the problem, Arteta. The problem isn't Xhaka missing. What else? What else is there? Oh, we're on the road. Those just cannot be excuses. The team did not play well, and they need to play better. Some players will have 2 weeks to work on it. Some players will be out on international break. Doing that. I'm hoping that Xhaka doesn't have to go. If he comes off, it looked like he came off for an injury, but maybe it's a cramp. But it would be nice to have him back ready to go for Crystal Palace and not kind of a little worn down, because he played a little bit too much during the international break. Tierney should be out, so maybe that will rejuvenate him, and he'll come back a little bit more, better and more threatening and more aggressive than the last match. It's funny, I don't recall him playing much. I know Erdegaard, I don't recall him playing much, just because another lost ball. That's basically what we saw today, and that's from everyone. From the players that we needed it, just didn't see it. Partey or Erdegaard kind of highlight that part of the game, and those are the 2 players I think when they're having bad games, we need somebody to stand up and maybe show for the ball a little bit better than those 2 did, and this didn't happen today. I mean, Ellsworth Road did really well, but he's got nobody to pass the ball to. And that middle just wasn't working. I just, like I said, I didn't feel like we wanted to command the middle, and we kind of left it alone. Some cases, you just didn't see anybody in the middle of the pitch. Not good. Not good. We'll take the point. We moved up part of the table, but it's just not where where we want to be. Should we be surprised? No. Should we be disappointed? Yes. Yes, we can be disappointed. But we saw this coming. We knew something wasn't going to be right, just based on past, not told you so kind of thing. But Arteta needed to get these guys to play up ready for this match, and they didn't come in looking like a team that thought that he could get a win out of this one here. Just not, he just did not have them ready to play. You can blame the players all you want, but I think at some point the manager also has a lot to say. And once they get on the pitch, then they have to go out there and do it. But if they're not ready to get on the pitch, then and you put them out there, then what are you expecting? And that's what we saw, right? So the manager gets them prepped and ready to go. But then when they get out there and they don't do it, whose fault is it at that point if you just continue to let it happen? Either they weren't ready going into the match, or they weren't ready going into it in the second half, or at any point in the match you can go ahead and switch players around if you feel that your message isn't getting through and they're not performing up to your non-negotiables. And I think today they did not. They failed on that one as a team. You could have picked any player and taken them out, and maybe might have seen something better. But I think the subs were right. The times were off. They needed to be a lot sooner in this kind of a match. We had the depth, and we didn't even use it to our benefit. Did not use it to our benefit. We could have had maybe 1 or 2 subs in before the 70th minute, and we didn't do that. But like I said, we're ending on a positive here. We got the points. We got 8 points, sorry. So we did not lose. We haven't lost in a while now. And we should continue to grow, build on that. You're not going to win every one, but we'll take the point here. Tough place to play, yes. Should we have gotten more out of it? Yes. Could we? Yes. If we played this game again tomorrow, would we do something different? Hopefully. But we'll play them at home. We'll have our crowd on our side. And by then, we should be better off for it, based on these experiences, these types of games as we work through things. Do we have our 11 going through? I hope so. I very much hope so. And I'm going to let you go. This has been a lot longer than what I saw, but I think this is kind of what we saw today. Not something good, but we'll take the point and move on and hopefully recharge and come back ready to go against Crystal Palace. It's a Monday match, so we have even longer to wait. So it can't mess up our weekend, but it can start that first day of the week for everybody a little sour if things go wrong. But they shouldn't. We have time to work on this. We have enough players that probably aren't traveling to get ready for it. So thank you for being on this, watching the video. And if you want to catch me, you got Don't Waste the Tweets on Twitter, DWTT Arsenal. You can find me in YouTube. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment if you have any comments on this video. I like to reply to them. And you'll see me, on a lot of pods. Typically I'm on Sundays and Thursdays on Arsenal Fan Circle. Mondays I run my own show on the Red Cannon called the Extra Time Podcast. And then you'll see me around and about, either in the chats or once in a while I will come on to a show and say hi. So I'll see you guys then. Have a nice, evening for those over here in the U.S., night for those over in the U.K., and morning for those on the other side of the country, another side of the world. So, like usual, come on, you Gooners, and I'd like to leave you with this message. Life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. All right, thank you, and talk to you later.